be in the house. I don't know if we have anybody else in here yet. Yep, we got Ranger 10. We'll get cranking here in just a second. Dang, we got 6 people in here and 1 thumbs up already. That's awesome. But yeah, it's going to be a interesting discussion this evening. I have had a lot of questions on some of my older videos, or not questions, really kind of comments. And also I've been noticing a few people, and I just kind of wanted to bring it to, or, just give my opinions. Hope y'all are doing well tonight. We've got Buffalo Trace this evening. Cheers, everyone. Pistol Pete is in the house. 2A indeed. 2A indeed. I did have some knives sent to me to review, so we'll get to those soon. And there is, they actually are on sale. To be honest with you, they're discontinuing these knives. So, no, just so you know, Pistol Pete, I had it planned today, was all ready to go, the whole works. Looked outside and I was like, man, it's getting really cloudy. And I mean, it started pouring. It's rained almost all day. So I was going to take off, like just kind of head down there for a couple hours. But here's the thing. I walk with a cane and walk really slow. So even from the house to the truck, I'd look like a wet rat. And then from the truck to inside the gun range, I would become a secondary wet rat. So, and I don't want to take a chance on slipping in the puddles and all that stupid shit. I really wanted to go, but I just couldn't do it. Hello, Dirt Track. How are you? While we were waiting, is a ported barrel considered a comped barrel? If not, can you have both? Yes, you can have both. But here's what happens. Excuse me. The ports in the barrel release gases. So at the end, where your comp is, you're not really activating the comp as well. So you're having a lot of bleed off. So the comp is not really working its best life, so to say. I like ports, they're cool, but I actually prefer comps because you're getting all the velocity at the end of the barrel, and then you have the comp at the end of the barrel. Excuse me, I just got the hiccups for some weird reason. So if I could choose between the two, I would choose a comp. However, ports are cool, and the thing about the ports is you don't extend the length any at all. So that's that's still it's really whichever you prefer. But you will lose more velocity with ports over a comp. What's up, Brian DeShane? How are you, sir? I'm kind of tired of a lot of politics anyway, personally. What's up, Turkey's Opinion? How are you, sir? But yeah, we're going to talk about, red dot debate. I've had some questions brought up on some of my older videos. I noticed some people are, kind of posting some things of like professional shooters and differing opinions and things like that. And I just wanted to kind of give my 2 cents because I was asked. So that's the only thing. Just so you know, it's really not even a debate. I mean, it ultimately comes down to do what you want to do. Use what you want to use. I mean, if you want to have a bayonet on the end of your pistol, put a bayonet on the end of your pistol. It's whatever makes you maybe shoot better, feel more comfortable, works better for you. Sorry, maybe this whiskey will kill my hiccups. I don't know. That gave it to me, but maybe it'll take them out. But, at the end of the day, I always tell everybody, shoot what you want to shoot, whatever caliber you want to shoot, pocket knife you want to carry, whatever car you want to drive, whatever clothes you want to wear, who gives a shit? It's whatever works best for you. So just because somebody on YouTube says, oh, you're dumb for carrying a red dot, or you're dumb for using irons, it really doesn't matter. So, but I've heard this one, and it's kind of like what I hear people say. So, you know, these are kind of the things that I have opinions about, is what people say. Okay, a dot is only good out past 20 yards or out past 15 yards. You know, your point shooting, if you're inside 10 yards. Is that a fact? Could be for some. Um, so it's not needed. What they're saying is you don't need a dot for anything past 15 yards for EDC. Okay. My debate or question to that is, how do you know what your distance is going to be during an incident? Are you going to say, oh no, Mr. Bad Guy, you need to come into 15 yards so I can, handle business. But if you're past 20, I don't have a dot on my pistol. So that makes no sense. That's dumb, in my opinion. All right. Then I'll throw this out to everybody and y'all can give your opinions. Just say you had a 15-yard or 20-yard shot, and it was, hostage. I mean, just like a shot that you needed everything to pull off to get the results you wanted. I'm trying to put this in proper terms. So, like, it is a must shot, a must shot. Would you not, if you know how to use a dot, a lot of people don't, but would you not prefer to have that dot capability or usefulness in a must hit shot? Say you got to hit like a really small area, and your irons, we all know this, irons have a huge air gap. They have that air gap. We know that. So it allows a lot of play. I'm not saying you can't be accurate with irons. Y'all have seen my old videos. I was very accurate with irons. But for shooting faster and more accurate with my eyes, other people, younger people, have perfect vision. I don't have that anymore. So for aging eyes and to make a pristine shot that is a must-make shot, I would prefer to have the dot. It's kind of like if you're in a dark room, would you not like to have a flashlight on your gun? Yeah, you've got one in your hand, but if you've got to go two hands on that gun, would you not like a light on your gun also? So these are just some things that I'm thinking about. It's not, it's not a must for a lot of people. Like I said, some people have way better vision than myself. I'm only giving my opinion. Other people have their opinions on YouTube. But I have heard YouTube personnel on videos go, you don't need a dot. It's not a must. It's not, you don't even need it. Blah, 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 this and that and this. Okay. Also, I've heard it's an electronic device. If the battery goes bad, you're screwed. Okay. Here's where I go with that. I have turned my battery completely all the way down to where it's in night vision. So I can't see a dot at all with my human eye. But I've got what? I've got this big frame, the outside of the dot. So if I put that frame here, wherever, I know in my brain the dot is in the middle of that frame normally. So I've just used that frame as like a field goal post to know where to let the shot loose. So yeah, exactly, Brian, the donut of death. It's just, I don't see a reason, just in my humble opinion, and like I said, I'm not pushing an agenda. I'm not telling people what to do. Y'all should know me better, or now I don't tell people it's a must. But if you put a dot on a gun, say you've got 2 or 3 guns, and you just put a dot on one gun and just spend time with it, shoot it, you know, kind of gather your opinions and not just shoot it 1 or 2 or 3 times. Kind of put some time in on a dry fire with it and things like that. I think some people that are just like irons only, irons only, irons only, you know, if you remember, that's what everybody said about AR-15s. Now everybody has a freaking dot on their AR-15. Um, so yeah, can you shoot irons on an AR out to, you know, 2 or 3 or 400 yards? Yeah, you can. A lot of people can. You know, like I said, my vision's not what it used to be. So it just benefits me to have a dot. Now I'm so used to shooting them. When I don't have one, again, my vision's not perfect. So I look at the front sight and I'm like, what the hell? You know, it just doesn't look right. Can I still shoot it? Yes. Could I still point shoot? Yes. Do I want to? Not really. I mean, why? It's kind of like when I run comps on guns. People are like, why do you have comps on guns? If I can shave off anything, if I can get one little tiny advantage, why not take advantage of it? So that's just the way I look at it. But I don't think it's a debate. You know, that's why I put a question mark. I think it's whatever you want, whatever works for you. But to have someone else tell you, oh, dots are wrong, or hey, look at this guy. This guy says, you know, dots. I mean, look at some of your professional shooters. I mean, I know it's a SIG shooter. Max Michel uses a dot. Ben Stoker prefers a dot. You know, all the more advanced shooters prefer a dot because they are faster. A lot of them are more accurate. So, I mean, can you still do it with irons? Yeah. But if, just for myself, and I think I did a video a long time ago, when I got better and better with a dot, I'm not saying I'm a professional because I'm not, but when I got better with the dot, I used my pack timer, you know, it's in my links bag, but I used my pack timer. And, you know, I shot 2 on the top, and I'm in an inside base, so I couldn't really transition, but I was transitioning on the paper target. You know, and I shot 1, 2, 3, you know, 2 on each. Same gun, because I have 2 of a lot of guns, so 1 without a dot, 1 with a dot. They were P10Cs at the time. And, you know, both compacts, so exact same guns, exact same triggers, 1 with irons, 1 with a dot. And I did 3 with the timer without a dot, and then I did 3 with a dot, and I was much faster and even more accurate, and I was only at like 15 yards, and I was even more accurate with the dot. And I mean, I just keep proving it to myself more and more with my eyes and my abilities. You know, like I said, I'm not a professional shooter, never claimed to be. But let's catch up on some questions and some. Hello, Trigger Bar. How are you, buddy? Let's see here. Brian saying a dot is candle of much larger distance than iron sights on a rifle. They are very accurate out of a couple hundred yards. Whoever said they aren't as accurate enough is full of crap. Yeah. Ranger says, I've been using dots for years, started in the military and carried over civilian life. Harry said, I pulled off a 6-inch group with a Model 36J frame at 25 yards Sunday. It was a lot slower than my 48 with a dot. Distance is where the dot really shines for me. Turkey's opinion said, I would 100% want a dot in that situation. Agreed. And that's, you know, that's what I always say. You know, you never know when people are saying, you know, oh, it's only, you know, for certain distances, or, you know, I've heard some of the Wilson Combat guys, you know, the FUD guys or what I call them, and I'm not being rude, you know, a lot of people call me a FUD too, but I'm definitely not. But, you know, a lot of those guys are, oh, you know, dots really don't benefit me, you know, until it's 15 yards, 20 yards, whatever. You know, I would even disagree with that if they spend a lot of time on it. But that's, you know, that's just me. Let's see here. Somebody said something. Red dots, Patriot in the Dark saying red dots and sights are just a fad. Crutches for those guys. Yeah. Well, like I said, it's whichever you prefer. I'm not telling you, you know, I'm not your daddy. I don't pay your bills. You do what you want to do. I'm not, like I said, I don't. What's up, Pranic? How are you, man? I would never tell anybody what to do. I mean, I hate it when, when I'll get comments, but of course it's YouTube. Hello, Scott. How are you, buddy? I'll get, a lot of comments and stuff. Hey, Norwood. Um, and yeah, I mean, if I'm shooting irons, I prefer a front fiber optic for sure with blacked out rears. I do not like night sights. I just don't. And a lot of people are like, oh, you got to have night sights. And you can go back. You can go back on my videos. You got to have night sights on a gun you're going to EDC. You got to have night sights. I was that guy. I was that guy. But really, night sights only are good if you were in a scuffle and you dropped your gun and you're trying to find it. That's what night sights are for. Because when you're shooting, I mean, yeah, I can help you line it up. But if you're shooting with a light on your gun or even a handheld, if it's over those sights, it's going to help you line them up either way. And think about all the guys back in the day that did the black combat sights, all the tier 1 operators. Brian saying in the self-defense situation, the entire dot will make an impact on the target at shorter distances. Innovations of tools keep humans surviving this long. I want the best tool. Battery life is a poor excuse. All decent dots have good battery life. I agree with that 100%. Back in the day, the dots, they would chew up the videos. Yeah, High Point did come out with an AR. But, hey, somebody had to do it, right? Patriots in the Dark says, don't rely too much on eyes. I shoot with my eyes closed and I'm still good. Learned on irons. Well, that's what I'm talking about. I can point shoot. I've actually taped up my dot, I had no sights. Matter of fact, on that particular gun, there were no sights. And I taped the dot on the front and the back. So you couldn't see through it. I point shot a really nice group. So yes, you can do it. But I'm saying the farther you go out in distance, that's a little harder to do. Ken is retiring with that opinion. Bill Wilson likes dots. Yeah. A blind guy asking, without the dot in your red dot, isn't that like a ghost ring sight? Well, I mean, kind of. That's what I'm talking about. It's just kind of a frame. Handsome guy. Okay, thank you. When the dot goes dark, the window of the dot still gives you a good reference point. Yes. Hello, Sean. Was that Shad Harry? Hope you're doing well. Man, I've got the robins all in my backyard. I got the males and the females. There's a nest right outside this window. And, there's probably like 15 robins that keep flying around here. Sorry, not robins, cardinals. Cardinals. The bright red ones. But, again, I'm not telling people what to do. I'm not trying to push an agenda. I'm not that guy. Because if I was pushing an agenda, just give you an example, I'd say don't shoot SIGs, except metal ones. I would say definitely, I prefer dots. There would be a lot of things I would push, but some people shoot SIGs really well. And they like them. But I don't, and they hate me, so. What type of drink am I drinking? This is Buffalo Trace whiskey. So, Brian Deshane is saying, Big Johnson, thoughts on the CZ Shadow 2 compact? It's the new one, the carry. Actually think it's a good option to have if somebody really, really wants a decocker. I don't know, and this is something I want to test for myself. And I've already said this, and maybe y'all didn't hear it or I haven't officially announced it, but I like my Shadow 2 compact so much, I was going to buy another one just to have two, because every gun I really, really like. I have two of every gun I really like. 2011s, whatever it is. So I had planned to buy another Shadow 2 compact. I will probably buy the Shadow 2 compact carry. So I will have a decocker and a safety. Y'all know I like safeties. I'm not a huge decocker guy, but I have a lot of guns with decockers. P07s, P09s, all that stuff. So I really want to test the trigger myself, because anytime you put a decocker in it and a safety, a firing pin block, it has to decrease the trigger a little bit. And my Shadow 2 Compact, it has a phenomenal trigger. I wouldn't even upgrade it. I really, really like the trigger. It's light, it shoots great, rolling brake, the whole works. So I do think the Shadow 2 Compact Carry is a good option for people, and it does have a direct mill, so there's no plate needed. It has nights or glow in the dark sights. They're not officially night sights. They're just illuminated with light. So you're going to have a really low platform to put a good optic on. So I probably will buy the Carry just to have it. The only thing, I want to put my hands on it because the decocker on a P01 Omega, the Omega, I can't shoot it because the decocker hits me right here. So when I grip it, it just punches me and I hate it. My regular P01, the original P01 non-Omega, didn't have that issue. So, because the decocker was high. Well, on the Shadow 2 Compact Carry, it looks like the decocker's really high. So, it should work. But it's wider at the back because it has the dual ambidextrous decockers. So, and I'll be able to use the lock grips on it that I already have. Be able to use the magwell on it that I already have. You know, I've got multiples of those, different colors. And the thing that I wish that it had is that it had the mag release button. It just has a standard one. It's a little extended, but you can't put the lock big button on it because I have a big thumb. But I want to test those things in a store where I can put my hands on it. And then, you know, if I really like it, I'll probably buy one. So that's where I am. Yes, the Brian DeShane, I've seen them for $12.99 right now. For the Carry. Even some places are $13.99. MSRP is like $12.49, or 12, maybe it's $12.99. But yeah, I'm sure it probably had to do with increase and, you know, maybe tariffs coming from the Czech Republic, you know, who knows. But anyway, so I'm not, you know, I mean, I still think for the price and what you get, I know out of the one with the safety, I mean, it's an incredible value. And y'all know that I have tons and tons and tons of mags for the CZ75. So the big mags and the 15 round compacts. So, I mean, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. A lot of people would prefer the decocker because they're scared to carry in the half-cocked position and they don't like dropping the hammer. And I understand it. I'm not, it doesn't bother me. I've done it a lot, but a lot of people haven't. And they don't feel real comfortable about that, which is totally understandable. So I think it would be a good option for a lot of people to have that. So yes, and that's what I'm afraid of, Pranic, is riding the decocker. Because we both, Honest and I, Chris and I both have big hands. So that's what I'm saying. I really want to put my mitts on it and all of that. I want to finger bang it before I buy it. That's why I haven't ordered one just online or whatever, because I haven't put my hands on it personally yet. So, because it very well, I might put my hands on it and be like, oh crap, this is a mess for me. The standard one with the safety is not. It works great. So, I don't know yet. Pistol Pete saying the trigger cannot exactly be the same as the Shadow with firing pin block. It is what it is. Yes, and the decocker. That's what I was saying earlier. So, CZ is making P01 in the United States, so would assume it was made here. Yeah, I haven't seen where it's roll marked and stamped, so I really don't know, Scott. I just don't want to speak out, you know, talk about or speak out of my butt. Y'all know how I am about that. But again, and I just want to reiterate this, you know, when I was talking about the red dot debate, I always say, shoot what you want to shoot, carry what you want to carry, wear what you want to wear, do what you want to do, use what you want to use. If you don't want to use a flashlight on a gun, you know, at least have one in your pocket. You know, I'm not telling anybody what to do here. I want people to do what they want to do and what they feel comfortable with. So that's kind of what I was trying to say. We got 24 people in here, 10 thumbs up. Y'all can smash that thumbs up if you would like to. No, they're still going to make the P01 because it's NATO approved, so I don't think they're going to stop the P01. Brian is saying since it's a double action, didn't see any need for the extra safety features the carry offers. No, yeah, with a well, I mean it's a double action, but with the decocker, a lot of people like a decocker versus manually decocking the gun with a safety. So Scott is saying, I personally seen PO1s roll marked Hartford, Connecticut, which means they were either imported through a Colt or they're made in Hartford. I gotcha. I haven't, my original one was made in the Czech Republic, you know, my old PO1. So you know, I don't know. I haven't looked at every one of them where they're made now. But I think it's another cool option for the people that were concerned about the safety and concerned about the drop safe and all that other stuff. But I look at it this way, and this is one thing that really bothered me. When Mac when Mac came out and said, "Oh my God, this compact Shadow 2 is unsafe to carry. Oh my God, it's so unsafe." I'm like, dude, weren't you the guy that's carried 1911s? I've heard him say, "Oh, I carried 1911s," because I've carried 1911s a lot. None of those are freaking drop safe. None of them. Now, granted, and I hope y'all all know this, you have to drop a 1911 or a 2011 on the barrel. So it has to hit this way for the firing pin to activate. So if it does, it's going to shoot it into the ground. If you hit it on the back, it's not going to go off. So that's the way 1911 and 2011s go off. But Mac was being such a bitch in that video about, oh my God, you know, this and this and this. And I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, you've preached back in the day, supposedly he carried 1911s all the time. So I'm like, what are you being a bitch about this gun? And also, and he's a Czech Republic CZ guy, he should know you actually carry it, you manually decock it into the half cocked position or quarter cocked, and you run it with the safety off. That is the way the Czech run that gun. They don't flip a safety on or off. They decock it, pull it back to the quarter cock position, take the finger off, and that's the way it's carried, with the safety off. So you don't have a safety. The hammer's back. You know, and it's still a heavier pull, but I don't know. I just thought he was, and I know he was doing it for clicks and to cause a controversy. And obviously it worked because CZ made a carry version. So, you know, for the people that were concerned about it, I get it. Also, if you do not run on the Shadow 2 Compact regular, if you don't run an extended firing pin, you're not going to have a problem with it either way. If you ever put an extended firing pin like I do in my CZ full size, I have an extended firing pin in my CZ Shadow 2 full size. Yes, if you hit the back of that, you know, it's extended firing pin, so it's closer to the primer. So that one could be an issue. So Scott is saying Mac is gay and a hypocrite. Yeah, Pistol Pete, Mac was cut off by CZ for shilling. Then he makes videos stirring things up. Yeah, and I noticed, yeah, I mean, he tends to do that. Daniel, what caliber would I take Bigfoot hunting? I'd probably want a 308. You know, I mean, why not have more than is needed? If it was a pistol, it'd probably be a 10 millimeter 460 Casull. I'd have some horsepower behind it for sure. .308 or bigger, Pranicusine, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'd be grabbing that 308. So, you know, but a pistol caliber, I'd go for a big revolver, or, you know, I guess if you had to go semi-automatic, you know, 460 Casull. On the FNX 45, you know, like Trigger Bar has, you could go with the 458 Roland or 460 Roland. Yeah, 30-06, 2 world wars. That's true. Pistol Pete, yeah, the 50 AE is cool, but man, some of them are jam-o-matics. Yeah, 7.5 FK Bruno would not be a joke. That's a really cool gun. But man, $2 a pop for ammo. That's an expensive hole puncher. I'm not saying it's not cool. It's very cool. But, whew, Uncharted Trucker. What is debate supposed to be about? Sorry, I just got here. Yeah, we just talked about it. Uncharted Trucker. It was just kind of, you know, again, I'm not a debate stirrer. I was just ultimately saying use what you want to use. But I was giving some reasons why I prefer a dot personally. Yeah, 460 Roland. It's cheap 10 millimeter too. Yeah, I think don't you have to get the 10 millimeter barrel? Because I think there was like a combo pack where you got the 10 millimeter barrel and the 7.5 and all that other stuff. So how many different loadings are there for 30-06? I'm sure there's one they claim is rated for Sasquatch. Oh, I'm sure there is. Just like 308. I think 3 and Trigger Bar would have to correct me on this if I'm wrong, or one of the reloaders, but I think 308 is one of the highest, I guess, for the data and bullets and all this other stuff. I think 308 is probably still one of the highest offerings, I believe. CZ versus Glock. Yeah, I mean, like I said, y'all know I am not a Glock guy. I'm not a Glock fanboy, but I can appreciate Glock for what it is. They work. They don't cheat you in the dick. So I mean, I think that I think it's a good option for a lot of people to have. It's if I'm picking a preference, it's not my preference. And matter of fact, let me rephrase that. I took the 19X that was stock and I molded the grip. I did everything. I had it all customized to the way that I like it for me. If it was still a stock plain Jane, I wouldn't. That would probably be the least gun that I would pick. But I had to make it my own to the way that I could really appreciate it, which I do with a lot of my guns anyway. So. Oh, it comes with a 10 millimeter barrel, full size. You can get the 9 millimeter conversion too. Okay, I gotcha. I knew that they had different pack or different, deals. So I wasn't sure on that one. So, but let's see here. PSA has the Gen 1 and Gen 5 Glock 17. Yep. Man, everything is getting dirt cheap right now. Yeah, exactly, Trigger Bar. And I do prefer the Glock with the Ramjet. Matter of fact, I'm getting a comp sent to me, just so you know, and it's going to be different, but it's a prototype, but it's by this company, so the people who know. But they're sending me one to test out, and looking at it, it's pretty damn cool. So, and I already know which gun I'm going to put it on, but I'm going to make it a surprise. I think I've got the perfect choice for it. So, kind of excited to test it, but he's saying this one's the shit. So I'm excited because I already have one on there now, so it'll be exciting to kind of compare it. The particular gun that I'm talking about putting it on. Trigger Bar said I was sold on it when Big J had a video showing its recoil versus some of its compared 2011s, and the Ramjet was holding its own. Oh, it does. I mean, I've put it up against 2011s with comps. I've put it up against a bunch of guns with comps, and that Ramjet is the shit. So anybody that has a Glock that's thinking about the Ramjet, I would highly recommend it. I mean, they are probably my favorite comp, and I have like 12 comped pistols, and they're not all Ramjets, of course. And it is probably my favorite comp. Damn, this whiskey's good. I love Buffalo Trace. It's not expensive. It's hard as shit to find, especially after their distillery in Kentucky flooded. And also the reason I'm drinking it is I took my mother to lunch on Saturday, and I picked her up at her house. We went to lunch, took her to lunch, and then I took her back home, and then she said, I got you something. And I said, what'd you get me? And anyway, in the icebox, she said, go out there in the garage. They have a couple of refrigerators in the garage. So she goes, go out in the white refrigerator, and it's in the back, and I couldn't find it. It was buried. And she said that she stuck it way back there. But anyway, she had bought me a bottle of Buffalo Trace. So I was like, damn, Mom, you're awesome. Thanks. So I've kept that bottle cold, and that's the one I cracked open tonight, so I can get it out of the fridge. Because my other ones, I still have, I think I've got 2 bottles of it left, but those are on my cart. All right, Ranger 10. You guys are on these trolls. I appreciate y'all. What's up, Disastrous Effect? How are you? Been napping. Hey, that's not a bad thing, man. And also going back to the Shadow 2 Compact, and of course, I'll say the PO1, I'll say the PCR, PCR. I will say the PO7, PO9. In my opinion, this is my opinion, because that's what I give. I think everyone should have a double action, single action gun. And I've said this before. I think if you want a revolver, get you a double action revolver. If you want a double action, single action, get you one of the ones I listed. You can get a PO7 or now the PO9 Nocturne compact or full size, rather inexpensive. And learn the trigger on your double action, single action, learn the trigger on your single action, learn the trigger on a striker fire, learn the trigger on a double action if you want to. But that way you will know different trigger groups and how to shoot them. And the great thing about double action, single action, which I really feel is so underrated, is the ability to just pull the trigger and fire it. You don't have to re-rack it like you do on a Glock, and you don't have to fake it and put a piece of paper in it and do the little shitty where you're not even getting a click. It's just kind of a dead trigger. It's kind of a wiggle trigger is what I call it. But with a double action, single action, you can practice dry fire, light switches, whatever you want to go after. And if you can shoot a double action, single action good, I'm talking about a rough double action, single action, not a lighter one. If you can shoot that good, you can shoot a striker fire even better or a single action even better. So I recommend everyone to have a double action, single action gun. Does it have to be a super high end one? No. Like a Shadow 2 Compact, if $1,200 is out of your realm, the PO9 Nocturne's like, $450. They've gone down a lot. So, and I think that's a great gun, and it's got the cut already, the optic cut. So, there's a lot of options out there. But I think everyone should have that ability to know how to shoot one. And the good thing about that is you can have you can have the decocker, you can get used to that setup. And if you want to carry it, that's cool. Rich B said, would the ramjet really make a difference with my Glock 45? Yes, it would. That's the same as the 19X. Or the 19, slide-wise. But yes, it would make a difference. I'm not joking. It really, really does make a difference. I love the ramjet. I can't recommend it enough. Drop in, everything fits perfectly. And also on a double action, single action, a lot of people, if you're carrying appendix, you can put your thumb on the back of the hammer. So as you're loading it in your holster, if that hammer starts coming back, something's stuck in your holster. And with other guns, you don't know that. So that gives you an extra little piece of security if you're concerned about carrying appendix versus a striker fire. Of course, we're not talking about SIG, but other striker fire guns. If you're concerned, you can throw your thumb on the back of that hammer as you're loading it in there. If you feel that hammer start creeping back, something's pulling that trigger. So there you go. But and your 45 with the ramjet will fit in a Glock 17 holster. Yep, it only changes it to a 17. That's the great thing about it. Pistol Pete says, I'm kind of hooked on a double action, single action for carry. Yeah, probably for the reason I just spoke about. It says, oh, wow, that's a shock. I'm not sure what a shock is. Or did I miss something? I am still absorbing it. I was not expecting it when I went to the office today. I didn't see maybe I missed something. Well, maybe I missed something on the, oh, well, that's a shock. But yeah, I'm a big proponent of double action, single action. I really enjoy shooting them, because here's the thing. A lot of people are like, double action, single action is horrible. if you can master the first trigger pull in double action, everything after that is single action. Or if you want, you throw the gun up, pull the hammer back, and then you're in single action. So you've got that benefit too. Um, and I feel it is safer for carry. You know, a lot of people are concerned about that, so I totally understand it. Um, you know, it's safer than striker fire. It's safer than single action. If you're concerned about that, you just kind of can't go wrong. But the trigger is heavier on the first pull. A lot of people don't like that. If you get a PO7 or the Nocturne, you know, the trigger's kind of grittier because it's a metal trigger on a polymer frame, so you get kind of a little frame crunchiness. But once you work that out, a couple hundred rounds, 300 rounds, you're good to go. So, and of course you can upgrade those triggers too with Cajun Gun Works, whatever you want to do. Pranic says, I prefer a decocker. Just ask my wife. There you go. Oh, side chat, I got you. Disastrous. That's cool, man. No, I appreciate all y'all being on. We got 30 people on, 18 thumbs up. Y'all can smash that thumbs up. And Trigger Bar is he's my only member, which is awesome. So I appreciate that. I'm not asking y'all to all join and all that stuff, but I do have memberships available if anybody wants to join. Also, I don't even think, and I wanted to share this because I thought it was kind of, well, it's not funny. Not that I make a lot of money on YouTube, because I don't. I've told y'all in the past I don't make a lot of money. But since I haven't been doing shooting videos and only chat videos, man, my dollars have been super decreasing. I don't even think I'll hit my limit. I don't even think I'll hit the limit to send me out a, you know, like a month, or, you know, YouTube pays me monthly. I don't even think I'll hit the limit to actually get paid this month because I just haven't been, I've only been doing chat videos. And I wasn't going to the range today to like, oh my God, I got to make videos for money. That's not a concern. But I really wanted to go today so I could shoot the 3 guns I've talked about. And again, in case new people are in, it was the Shadow System CR920 XP, the Shadow 2 Compact, and the Staccato C2. Those are the 3 guns that I really, really, really want to shoot. And one of them is a striker fire, one of them is a double action, single action, and one of them is a single action only. So, because I wanted to see, since I've been out for 4 months, not shooting at all, I wanted to see how I would do with them. And the first gun I was going to shoot was going to be the double action, single action. Then I was going to shoot the striker fire, and then I was going to shoot the single action. So that was my plan. And I charged my little microphone, threw it on the charger last night to make sure it was charged. And what's crazy is even after 4 months, it was almost fully charged. So it really hadn't lost anything. And that's the mic that Trigger Bar turned me onto. And I'm actually still impressed with it. It's the Hollyland. This is just the bag. The case is in my little Lynx bag. But, you know, I'm actually impressed with that microphone. It seems to work really well. So that's what I was going to take with me. And maybe I can make it work tomorrow. I do have a ear appointment tomorrow. I've had a clogged ear. I don't know if it's sinuses. I don't know what it is. Buildup. I have no idea. So I've got to go to the ear doctor tomorrow just to have it flushed out or checked or whatever. And they said, oh, we might have you do a hearing test. And probably not a bad idea since I've been shooting so long, just to have the hearing checked to make sure I'm still good to go. But it's only in the right ear. So it could just be something jammed, you know, wax buildup. And I mean, I clean my ears. I take a shower every day, but, you know, I don't know. Maybe I stuck a Q-tip in there or did something. Who knows? I know you're not supposed to do that, but there you go. There you go. Pranic says, do you measure your YouTube money in 9mm rounds? Yeah, I mean, I don't make a bunch of money. So I definitely don't. I'm not in it for the money. If I did, you know, I'd be like, hey, buy this piece of shit. I'm joking. I'm not a shill. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say I could buy a box of 9mm ammo. Yeah, if you don't hit $100, they don't give you a payout till the next month. And that's what the people who don't do YouTube, it's if you don't hit the minimum of $100 a month, they don't do a payout. So it has to be 100 or over. And it's been going down and down since I've been, you know, since I've been out. Pistol Pete says, or just carry a SIG P through 20 Israel style. Okay, I'll clean it up. Screw that. That's ridiculous. I would not carry a gun without one in the chamber. That's just ridiculous. In my opinion, if that's the way you carry, I'm not hating on you, but I wouldn't do it. I mean, you might as well carry a paperweight in your front pocket because that's what you are carrying if there ain't one in the chamber. So 4 boxes. Yeah. Yeah, it's not it's not a bunch of money. I can't even remember the most I've ever made on YouTube. It's not a lot. I mean, because I'll be honest with you, I would say it was only like maybe 245 bucks a month or something like, or 245 bucks in a month. I don't know. It wasn't a lot. Trust me, I spend way more than that. So, yeah, Pistol Pete says SIG added that to their manual as a safe way to carry. I'm wondering if the legal teams of all, there's lawyers behind all that crap. So, I get it. I think there's other manufacturers who've had that. I just don't remember seeing it in the manuals. I'm not saying it wasn't there. I just don't remember seeing it. But then Trigger Bar sent me some stuff, from X, and I guess Hop was doing a deep dive, and a lot of manufacturers have had that in their owner's manuals. So, like I said, I'm sure that there's people behind it. There's old Donnie Cluck in there. What's up, Big J? He says. Hey, Donnie, how are you? Matter of fact, my old PO1, Donnie Cluck, y'all can all see his name. He has my old PO1. He has since put a dot on it. He's tricked it out with Cajun Gunworks trigger, the whole works. And he had Impact Machine do some work on it recently. I think they milled it for a dot. And it looks pretty good. He sent me pictures of it, so I thought that was pretty nice. But matter of fact, Impact Machine, if y'all are interested in any plates or custom stuff, I mean, you can use my code BJGG10. It stands for Big Johnson Guns and Gear, so BJGG10. That'll save you 10% off any custom builds, milling, optic plates, parts, whatever y'all want. I mean, I don't get paid on it, but it helps y'all out, so I ask them for a discount code for y'all. So, but they're a great group of guys. They do awesome work. They've done 2 of my guns, and I've been thoroughly impressed. And they do anything from complete trigger upgrades, milling, whatever you want, they do it. So they're a full custom shop. And then also Lock Grips. If y'all want anything from Lock Grips, it's BJGG10, all caps. That'll get you 10% off anything they have. Hats, t-shirts, pistol stands, grips, magwells, for all kinds of guns, whatever y'all want. And then also Armsman holsters. It's BJGG10. That'll save you 10% and free shipping off any holster. And he does a lot of light bearing holsters, which some people don't. I get it. But I carry lights on my guns. I have for quite a while. So he makes really great holsters too if y'all need any holsters. So, spread the love around to them. Let's see here. Yep, Trigger Bars in California. Yeah, Ranger says I still love my SIGs and I trust mine also. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I would never tell anybody what to do. Yeah, I mean, I honestly feel that SIG has shot themselves in the foot by all the crap they've said about themselves. I'm like, if they would just shut up, but they haven't. I was curious if any of y'all went to the NRA show, and if you saw anything. I didn't see anything from the NRA show that I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I didn't see a thing. Did y'all? I mean, the High Point AR-15, that's not the exciting thing, but I mean, they offer it for people who want it, so I get it. But Magpul has a new stock. There's some little things like that, but and Harry and I were talking about that today, and maybe they're, because of the way the market is right now, maybe they're just kind of saving, they had stuff, but they just didn't want to release it at that show. So who knows? Yes, and I did see the GBRS group. Um, I saw that video. I have to earn money for my addictions. I hear you there. Yeah, the feces map. I remember that. That's pretty funny. Yeah, and there's a rumor. I don't know if this is true, but there is a rumor that Taurus might buy Diamondback and what is it, Deltron? So there's a rumor. I don't know if it's true. There is a truth. Voodoo Gunworks has, I guess, they're ignoring their dealers. Skips Guns put out a video. They're ignoring their dealers, and he's got outstanding orders that he's paid money on, so they owe him money or owe him product and haven't sent the product. So, the Voodoo Gunworks is, we don't know what's going on with them, if they've closed the doors or not, but that's kind of shitty if they've done that to their dealers and customers. Probably, I've heard some customers have ordered their 2011s and paid the money and not gotten the gun. So I don't know what's going on there, but you know, hell, Voodoo Gunworks makes badass 22s, precision 22s for the competitions and the 2011s. So that's bad. But the original owners, the husband and wife, got bought out by a company. It was one of those companies just go around and buys companies. So who knows? Oh, the ballerina gun. Yeah, that's cool. I think that movie might be pretty good. Scott says I saw a post that said the Marines were going to be investigating the P320 discharges. Huh. Yeah, I mean, you hear about a lot of that, or I've heard it, on videos. I don't know. I'm not there. That's when Trigger Bar asked me that. I was like, man, I've got a bunch of these manuals, but I don't know if I've ever even gone through them and looked at them. Um, I mean, page for page, of course. Um, sometimes if you get a new gun, I might look at a little bit of it, but not much. And I've got the FN. I don't have any 320s anymore. Um, I've got the Glocks. You know, I've got a ton of CZs and all that stuff. So, but I've never gone through and actually read them. So, really don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. But it is 7:52. We'll go for a little bit longer. But if y'all have any questions you want to ask or anything like that, please ask away. But like I said, I don't really think it's a debate on the red dot. I would recommend it, because it has really changed things for the better for me, and people that I have turned people into dot lovers once they get used to them. Um, but if you're good with irons and you just want to stay with irons, that's cool. I won't call you a FUD, but many might. Just joking. But, I just look at it as, hopefully, this is my opinion, but hopefully every gun that's manufactured now that's coming out will have a cut. Will automatically have a factory cut. Um, so therefore you could put a dot on it. And I would really prefer it without a plate, but and on the bigger guns, I would say, and I know that people go back and forth with the RMR versus the Delta Point Pro versus the this versus the that. But, I still, and Humble and I have even argued about this, but I still think the RMR is the dominant footprint, other than the Acro. I mean, I really, really, really like the Acro. A lot of people don't, but I really like that footprint as far as security because you got the whole boss that sucker's. It's got the one screw, but it's really cranking on a piece of metal, not just two screws. So, but there you go. But yeah, I mean, I think, everybody that's dot curious, if you've got multiple guns, try it on one, see what you think. But I will say this, do not buy the plate that you slide into the, like remove your iron sight and slide a plate into it. Those are dog shit. They are complete dog shit. So you're going to put that in your sight, and then you're going to put a plate on it, and it's going to wiggle. Your dot's going to vibrate like shit. They're not accurate. They're way high. Um, don't mess with that because you're going to spend $60 to $70 on that stupid iron sight plate, and you can have your gun milled for like $150. So, and you can have it low. You don't have to have it like the freaking Berettas where it's way the hell up in the air. And I'm not hating on Beretta, but that is what the gun is. I understand that, but that way you can get it milled down into it if it's not already previously milled at the factory. Pistol Pete says I like dots and irons. Yeah, I get it. And backup irons, I mean, they're cool to have. I don't know if it's a must like it used to be back in the day with the more inferior dots. I'm not saying every dot's perfect. Don't take that the wrong way. Anything can happen. But, and like Rich B is saying, I have not given a dot enough of a chance. I get frustrated and go back to irons. I need to do better with that. That was if you go back, I fought that. I fought it. I was like, I'm an iron guy. I'm an iron guy. And I was staring at the dot. I wasn't, being target focused. And here's another thing I thought about. And I heard this, I can't remember who said it, but it was recently. And they were like, think about it this way. And this is a perfect example to be target focused. Okay, when you're driving your truck or car, do you stare at your windshield? No. You're looking out at the other vehicles, you're looking at buildings, you're looking at shit way out there. That's target focused. If you were staring at your windshield, you'd be staring at the dot. And I was like, that's freaking brilliant. That is perfect. Because you got this big fishbowl in front of you. And of course, your dots aren't a freaking windshield. But I was like, that makes total sense. And I heard somebody say that, but I can't remember who it was. I heard it in a video and I was like, oh my God, that's the perfect thought. So you're looking out at the cars and the trucks and the street signs in front of you, farther down the road. You're not looking at the freaking windshield. So you're not staring at your dot. You're target focused, you're driving focused. And I was like, that's brilliant. So, that's what you want to do. You don't want to look at your dot. You want to look at your target and just let the dot superimpose onto the target and then pull the trigger. So, that's the perfect thing. Let's see here. Yeah, I like guns. Put it in my hands, I'll figure it out. Yeah, and I mean, I've got guns where I can't put dots on them. I've got classic old school guns, and I'm not going to mill them up. I did for my dad's, the 97B, which you can't buy anymore. They discontinued that gun, but, that was a special project. Impact Machine knocked it out of the park. It's awesome. So I really couldn't... why did Donnie Cluck get timed out? Oh, crap. Ranger, you timed out Donnie Cluck. He's a good guy. Let's see here. Yeah, Donnie's a friend of mine, but it happens. I get it. You're trying to go through, and I appreciate yeah, Donnie's a friend of mine. He gives me shit all the time, so I can handle it. I don't know if we can get him back, but sorry, Donnie. You got blasted. I probably could have used another shot of whiskey. But we got 30 people in the chat. We got 27 thumbs up, so y'all did awesome. I appreciate that so much. Pranic says, I love dots as well now on a rifle. I will be honest, the holographic side is amazing me. Yeah, the holographic, I go back and forth. I mean, I have astigmatism, which holographic is more designed for astigmatism. And I can shoot a holographic, but I kind of prefer a red dot, and I know that it blisters where the holographic does not, but I can shoot either one, so they don't really matter to me. Ranger says, my bad, thought the comment was bad. Yeah, no problem. Like I said, Donnie busts my balls, and I do that to him, so we're good. Pranic says, I see dots better than holographic sights, but still fun. Yeah, I mean, I can see both of them. I just prefer, and that's another thing, I've got dual astigmatisms. A lot of people are like, I have astigmatisms, and understand everybody's eyes are different. But if you get the little blister, I pick out the dominant part of the blister, and that becomes my dot. So if it's a 2, that's why I prefer smaller dots like 2 MOA, 2.5, or a 3, because sometimes that 3 or that 2.5 becomes a 5. If I get a 5 or a 6 or a 7, it becomes a 12. So, and I can always crank up the intensity, but I can't turn it down. So that's why I prefer the smaller dots. Now, if you talk to Humble, he'll be like, you got to have a big dot. And I get it. Because you don't want to crank up the intensity if you don't need to. But I do what I want. So that's the way I look at it. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll tell Donnie. I don't think he's going to be pissed. But Turkey's Opinion says, I missed the past 50 minutes, had to fertilize the lawn, but I'm back. Small dots are better. Yeah, for me. I mean, I have a dual astigmatism, so I prefer the small dots. But like I said, I'm not telling people what to do. I keep reiterating that. Shoot what you want to shoot, carry what you want to carry. No flashlight, no dot. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not your daddy. I'm not telling you what to do. I just noticed that with a flashlight, with a dot, things like that, it actually helps me shoot better. Here's another little tip. If you run a flashlight and you have astigmatisms, if you run a flashlight and you kick the light on, it takes the dot that's astigmatized and it cleans it up for me when a flashlight's involved on the gun. If I hold a flashlight, it's not the same. So it actually cleans up the dot for me with the flashlight on the gun. So that is another reason I do it. Plus, if you really want to throw it out there, the flashlight, people are like, hey, you don't need a flashlight on your gun, blah, blah, blah. It does multiple things for me. It's a frame weight. So if I'm blasting, here I am blasting some people. Okay. If I'm shooting rapid, it assists. It could be, we're talking ounces. It's not a big deal, but ounces equals pounds, I mean, it can benefit. But I won't push the button to even turn it on, but I use the thumb area on the flashlight to press down. So, because I have long ass thumbs. So that's where it benefits me as well. I don't have to add a gas pedal or do anything weird. Not saying 9mm has a lot of recoil. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it gives me another place to place my thumb. So there's that benefit too. So that's another reason I like them. And again, I carry a pocket flashlight and I carry one on the gun. So I've got 2 flashlights if I ever need it. And the flashlight, if I needed to, I could take a nickel, unscrew it, and just have the flashlight, to light up if I had a flat tire. Of course, I keep flashlights in the truck too for a flat tire, but I'm just saying you can remove it from the gun and use it if you needed to. Am I going to walk around with a gun and turn it on and, PID somebody? No, that's not what it's designed for. I would never do that. I'm using a handheld. So, but there you go. But it is 8:03. If you have any comments or questions after the chat, and please check out Lock Grips. You can use my code BJGG10. That'll save you 10% off anything. Impact Machine, BJGG10. That'll save you 10% off anything. Custom work, I don't make a dime on that. It's just for y'all. Also, Armsman Holsters, BJGG10, and free shipping. So if you use that code, you get 10% off and free shipping. I don't make a dime on that. but it benefits y'all. Just every company I work with, you know, not saying I'm going to make money on it, but I want y'all to save something. You know, if I believe in their product and I really trust them, which I've been working with all these companies for quite a while now. Impact Machine is the newest, but I've had them do 2 guns. Two, not just one, blah, blah, blah. I had them do 2 different guns, and I've been super impressed with both of them. They did a fabulous job. So how could I not recommend them? And not that I'm anybody special. So they just did an awesome job. Everything I wanted done, they did, and they both came out perfect. So, you know, and from what I've heard from other people who didn't use my code and stuff and have used them, they've had great luck with them too. So, you know, I only recommend stuff. And if you're looking for lube, I've been using this. I talked about it last week. I've been using the Apex lubricant. This is the Vendetta. You can go back to last week's chat. I've got a link in there for a Texas seller if you want to buy it, and they'll ship it to your house. But here's the one I had been testing. I'm going to cover up this part though, because it is the revision number. But I had been testing this way prior to my accident, and I used it on multiple guns. That's why the bottle is kind of low. ARs, PDWs, 45s, 9mm, you know, and this is great oil. So been super impressed with it. And when you check it on your fingers, it works really well. So if y'all want it, I'm not pushing it. I don't have a discount code for it, but it is the Apex lubricant, and it's called Vendetta. And in the chat last week, I've got a code in there, or a link in there if y'all want to use it. And it is from a Texas seller, because they have distributors in different areas. So that's who's selling it now and has it available. It's not expensive for the size you get, and you don't have to use much. So please do not overuse. You don't have to have it to where the oil's flying off the gun. So don't do that. But I appreciate y'all so much. If y'all need anything, please leave a question or comment after the chat. I'll answer it. And I appreciate y'all so much. And like we're saying now, if you have a family member or a friend you haven't reached out to in quite a while, please reach out to them. Just let them know you're thinking about them. Say hi. Some people need that right now. They're going through some tough times. Stuff's happening with other people we may not know about. So be a friend. Reach out to them. Be a family member. Let them know you're thinking about them. But I appreciate y'all as always. Remember, an unarmed nation's a very weak nation, so we all got to carry on. Thanks, everyone. Y'all take care and have a great night.